This is Focus Note-Taking 5 Steps to Success. Avid's Focus Note-Taking process embodies research-based best practices for note-taking and using notes for learning and other applications. The 5 stages in the process apply to a number of formats for notes and works with all ages of note-takers. First, the note-taking process must be taught. Most students don't know how to take notes, and without understanding the why behind the process, are likely to look at the stages of the focus note-taking process as needless extra work. Much of the focus note-taking philosophy rests on the shoulders of work done by German psychologist Hermann Ebbinghaus. In the late 1800s, Ebbinghaus studied memory and retention of learning and concluded that the key to learning was deliberate, mindful repetition. The more times and the larger variety of ways learners interact with information, the more likely they are to understand and remember. This research underscored the work of Walter Pock, who devised the Cornell note-taking system in the 1950s. Cornell Notes provided designated space for each stage of the focus note-taking process to take place, but the steps of the process can occur with any type of notes. Finally, inquiry, the I in Wicker, is at the center of every stage in a note-taking process. Learners who adopt an attitude of curiosity and questions themselves as learners, the notes they take and the content in the notes experience maximum success. Phase 1 is taking notes. This is the stage during which the notes themselves are created. But before any note-taking begins, it's important to establish a note-taking purpose and the objectives and choose the format best suited to the purpose. Notes can come in many forms and are suited for a variety of purposes. Cornell Notes provides space on the right for taking notes, a column for connecting thinking, and a place for a summary reflection at the end of the notes. 2 and 3 column notes are a structured method of taking notes by designating columns that meet the note-taking objective. Columns often include space for input from the source's form, which notes are taken, and space for students to provide examples, write questions, or connect their learning in other ways. Mind maps, sometimes called webs, are free-form graphic organizers in which notes are arranged spatially on a page. This visual method of note-taking allows learners to easily show the relative importance of information and the interrelationship between ideas. Sketch notes and one-pagers are other visual forms of notes. Graphic organizers are structured ways to show connections among ideas. Venn diagrams can show comparisons and contrasts. Flowcharts are demonstrated cause and effect or outline a process or procedure. An interactive notebook is a living archive of students' learning, set up on a facing pages in a notebook. Typically, right side pages are used for teachers' input, notes, text, handouts, etc., while the left side pages are designated for student processing and reflection on the content in the facing page. Digital considerations for Phase 1 are as follows. Phase 2, processing notes. You should return to your notes within a day to review and revise them. During this phase, you should thoughtfully revisit your notes to clarify and organize your notes further, making them as complete and as useful as possible. As you revise your notes, the notes themselves may be a little messy, which might be an indication that some thoughtful interaction is occurring. Processing notes involves identifying the most important information, sorting through the content, clarifying what's there, and identifying the organizational scheme within the notes. Digital considerations for Phase 2 are as follows. Phase 3, connecting thinking, asks learners to use inquiry to think beyond the notes. Rather than adding a lower-level recall question and instructor-provided examples, curious learners can deepen their understanding by asking the wonderment questions. Sarkadamalia and Burritter, as cited in Chin 2001, developed 5 categories of wonderment questions. Comprehension questions, seeking an explanation of something not yet understood. Prediction questions, what would happen if? Anomaly detection questions, where students try to resolve some cognitive conflicts caused by the information or to address an identified discrepancy or anomaly in their notes. Application questions, where students ponder the usefulness of the information, and planning or strategy questions, in which students contemplate what to do or where to go next. Level 2 and 3 of Costa's levels of thinking can also produce effective questions and connections. To make the most of this phase of focused note taking, you should be asking authentic questions that truly interest you, not simple questions that are easily answerable in the notes themselves. Ask yourself questions to which you already know the answers is a waste of time. Digital considerations for Phase 3 are as follows. Phase 4, Summarizing and Reflecting on Learning. In the fourth phase of focused note taking, you summarize and reflect on the learning from the notes. Summarizing is crucial to your understanding of a source because it requires you to sift through the information, sort out the big ideas from the less significant ideas, consider how the pieces fit together, and communicate the big idea in several succinct sentences. Adding a reflective element to the formal closure of a note-taking process helps you to identify how the notes will be useful to them. The note taker once again considers the note-taking objective and engages in metacognitive reflection about the note's relevance. This helps you answer the question, where do I go from here? Digital considerations for Phase 4 are as follows. Phase 5, Applying Learning. The focused note-taking process is not meaningful unless the notes serve a purpose and help the note-taker achieve that purpose. Otherwise, there was no need to take the notes in the first place. Going through the phases of the focused note-taking process prepares you to apply your learning. Often students try to apply learning without having done the prior work. This makes it difficult to deepen learning. Often in school, notes are used for the purpose of studying material for an exam or other assessments. The focused note-taking process itself helps you digest the content in your notes. Digital considerations for Phase 5 are as follows.